Hi everybody, can you hear me? Yes, no, more or less. I've just updated the Mac OS, so I don't know if it's working. I can only see Karim. Like I cannot hear anything. Okay, he's smiling, so it means that it's working.
I can hear you. I have some audio issues. Yeah.
All right.
It's always the same. Yeah. Let's see. I was going to do the introduction again.
Yeah, of course. I have it already written, so I will just read
Cool.
read it.
You're gonna read the entire antitrust policy, right? This time.
No. I will just introduce it and then I will post the link and anybody can choose if they want to
We have.
do something.
But we'll be silent for 10 minutes so everybody can read it. Yeah, I guess we can start.
Do you know if Timo will ah yes,
There he
there
is.
you
Boom.
okay, nice. But anyway, I will share my screen just to take the lead because he wanted us to take the lead, so I will. All right. Okay, so you can, yeah, you can see my screen, right? The meeting
Yep.
notes. Okay, so welcome to the ASA working group call of September 28th, 2023. So I think we are in the end of the summer, but we are still in the bi-weekly basis. But so yeah, I would like to remember that this is a Hyperledger project meeting. So the Hyperledger Code of Conduct and its antitrust policies in effect. So I will post into the meeting chat the link to these notes so you can read it if you want it. Is anybody new here today who want to introduce themselves, or anybody who is not new but want to introduce themselves, or if they want to introduce anyone else? I don't know. I think we we are not so many, and I know all the names, but okay. But anyway, if you want, no problem. So yeah, we can just start. I will just trying to find my Zoom window so I can post the meeting in the chat. Uh, I I don't know if there is any status updates. I haven't been into the meetings this week. I couldn't attend on the Aries call, on the bye-bye fall. I don't know if anybody wants to share something about them. I guess in the
It
Aries
wasn't.
call, we had this OWF moving, but maybe we can leave it for just in a.
Yeah, it took most of the time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like 40 minutes or something.
Oh, okay. And for the buy, for any other meeting, then nothing. Okay. Okay, so maybe we can just start. I don't know if anybody wants to add something else to the agenda. This is maybe a copy paste from last week. I just moved some stuff like starting with the separating of the storage layer, if we want to discuss about that, and some of this on the DITCOM v2 work, and probably talk a little bit about the 0.5 release and the 0.4.2 that I have seen today. There are also some things about the PRs that maybe we can discuss if we have some time, but I don't know if anybody wants to add something. If not, we can just start with the main course, which is the moving to OWF stuff by Karim. Okay.
Yep. I guess nobody has anything. Yeah, I down below in the meeting notes, I put the meeting notes that came up yesterday during the Aries working group, and I think there's also the link below down. That's up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there. If you can post that in the chat, maybe the link.
Yeah.
Or I can do it as well, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Just because I don't know where is my chat window. I lost.
Okay, I'll do it.
Lost it. Yeah. Okay. I could find it. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's fine. Just to have three screens.
So for those who don't know, last Monday we have done I have opened a discussion in the Aries JavaScript repository about moving to. Well, it contains a proposal to move the framework to OWF. And it explains why. Why we think this is necessary is mainly due to a sort of a branding issue that we're experiencing more and more. Well, we're asking for feedback or for opinions or for objections when he is really against it. And well, yeah, I said yesterday, I also discussed this during the Aries working group. And I figured that this would also be a good place to discuss it, since most stakeholders are here, I guess, the framework. Yeah, next to that, there isn't really much to what I have to say about it. I just wanted to openly ask for opinions, answer any questions people might have. Yeah, just open a discussion here. So are there any questions about it? Let me start with that.
So for in regards of yesterday's meeting on Aries working group, I have seen somewhere that they were discussing also about moving, by for the NASCAR.
Yep, that's correct. And extensions was also mentioned, which makes sense. Yes, I guess I don't know exactly what the motivation behind it is, but I guess Oscar or Fightful is completely dependent on AFJ, so I think that is the main reason.
So I don't think that's why. Honestly, I was at the call as well, and my read on it is that BC Gov, while extraordinarily interested in continuing with DIDCOM and Aries, feel the hurt of the branding as well in terms of talking to other governments. And so being able to say to their European and other provincial and counterparts and the like that, hey, the same stuff we're using is available to you through OWF and the like, might help, soothe some or smooth the way in certain regards. So I think it's probably more a thought about marketing than it is about anything technical. Whether they actually do it, and I know that also it seemed to me that while Sam Curran was, outwardly supportive of this because this is what the community wants to do. I think he was trying to put the brakes on anything else moving unless, you know, there's a good reason to do it. So I don't think there's any hurry for anything else to happen, but certainly BC Gov is lifting its head and saying, I wonder if this is a good idea for the whole mobile side. That's the way I read it.
All right, that's not how I got it, but this seems very plausible. Indeed, it was also clearly mentioned that this is probably not the time for Akapai to move, but also kind of in those words. Correct me if I'm wrong, Warren. So not the time right now, but also not excluded from moving in the future, as far as I understood.
Yeah, I think there was less interest upfront in Akapai, but certainly some thought that it should be considered. So.
Yeah, this is Tim here. I think the Akapai piece is more hesitant because there's question of fit as well, right? I mean, Open Wallet Foundation focuses on the wallet components. I know Akapai has a wallet; it's a wallet as well, obviously, but as an agent. But the interest was in ASCAR and those kind of components that may be more of a natural fit to the wallet as a first thought. That was my read from that, and also other discussions I've had on the side as well.
Well, it sounds like there isn't a lot of objection here or a lot of questions on this. I don't know. I think it's also interesting to start thinking about how this move will happen if we do, and to start forming a plan in that regard. It was also, it was discussed yesterday, like how would such a move like technically look. And Stephen, I think rightfully so, and he also commented, I think yesterday evening, on the discussion that a fork would be not a good idea because the likelihood of the Hyperledger repository being abandoned is quite big. So most were, I believe, in favor of moving the entire repository, like transferring it to the OWF organization, which to me makes sense. I don't know if anyone has other ideas about that.
Yeah, for sure. I think it will be
Thank
better
you.
to and how does it work when you want to the older repository, it will automatically redirect or something?
Automatically what?
Yeah, I'm thinking on the repos, for instance, if a repo is moved completely from an organization to another one, if you go to the previous one, if you want to go to the previous one to the, for instance, if we move the repo entirely from Hyperledger Aries JavaScript to I don't know what, if you want to that link, it will automatically redirect, you know?
Yeah, I think it usually does that. It redirects to new to repositories are, I believe, redirected to new locations, but we might be have to double check that. Yeah, and I mean other things are probably also how we use secrets in CI and stuff. So we definitely, I think, need to plan ahead. Will we also move to docs? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I think one of the mechanisms that's often used would be to take the existing repo, make it, put a note on the top that it's been deprecated with a link to where the new thing is that replaces it, and make it read only after that, so that, you know, it kind of,
maybe
that's
making it archived, right? Making it archived. Right. So yeah.
But there would be a difference between like doing that and moving the repository, because that's usually done if you like archive it or but then we would have to fork it or publish it again. So maybe I think what we could do is just move it over, I think, and then if it doesn't redirect or that stops, we can create a stop repository or something that just says like, hey, this is an empty repository. This is where the code actually lives.
I really hope it redirects, because if you think about how many places in blogs and stuff this tweets this URL lives, it would be a shame if we lose all that. Yeah, and then I think also there is, I mean, before we should even think about the technical stuff, there is, I think, also quite some political organizational stuff to figure out first. Like, yeah, I mean, we need GitHub runners. Are they already available? Are they available to us? And can we use them, or do we need to organize that? Let me see. Is there an OWF Discord and
Yeah,
such? I'm
yeah,
actually not sure. Is there?
yeah. There is a. I don't know if an Open Wallet Foundation Discord.
Mm.
Then there are different channels. I don't understand them exactly, but I don't know if it's.
Oh no, it's a new organization. I mean, we probably have to read through 20 documents with life cycles and stuff. Yeah, and but I think for that, that is quite like if we start discussing that, it becomes quite, I think, an official thing. So I'm not sure if we should wait with that like that conversation until the 14 days objection period is over, or that we can already start that process. Couldn't hurt, right? Already start, I think.
Yeah, I think you said in the post about 14 days or something like that. It should be around the 9, yeah, the 9 of October. Oh, Yaku.
Yeah, but no,
We should wait.
we should wait. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Everybody's
I think we should wait, because like, and maybe you can, like, that's just my opinion, right? So I feel like we can still discuss it, plan it, prepare for that, go through it maybe twice, and to be sure what we want to do. But we should still like comply with our suggestion, like that we are open for, you know, some
we are. I mean,
opinions, and if there is strong group of people voting and yelling against that, then we should do something about that.
Yeah.
I feel we are fine if we wait.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mean to just do whatever we want. I mean, there is a 14-day objection period. So, I mean, if there are objections, obviously we'll listen. The question is more that I don't know. It could be that this is a 4 weeks process for them to get everything. Yeah, I don't know, to get us onboarded, and I know that .NET although there is a publication that the .NET framework hasn't moved yet, so that I guess they're also trying to figure it out still. At least that's what I understood from Sebastian. So yeah, if we're not in a hurry, it's fine. We'll wait. We'll start the process then, and but that was just what I was trying to figure out. We can also start the conversation now, and then if somebody objects, pull back. But
Okay. Okay, so we will submit the proposal of the project on the 9th of October, which is exactly the same day there will be, you know, that meeting about this one.
Yeah, the pre-IW.
Pre-IW, just in the very same day, we will start proposing it. So yeah, and this one is face to face, but I think you will also be able to show to.
No, there's a online.
Yeah, it's virtual. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this can be an interesting one to get a little bit more knowledge about what is currently in the OWF in terms of projects. I will put the link here. Okay, so I don't know if it's anything else about this. No, we are good.
Not for myself.
Well, I don't know if you would like to continue a little bit on this hot topic that from 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you have anything to discuss about this, the separating the storage layer. You know.
I think this is Timo's baby.
Yeah, Timo and Jakub. I felt last time that you wanted to say lots of things, but I don't know if you are inspired today.
Me?
No, you in general. I mean, Timo and Jakub, for instance. But if they are not,
yeah, not a lot since last time. Like I still think for longer term, if we also have to go of like separating the framework into separate libraries where a lot of the core standards are implemented in different repositories / separate libraries. Maybe then separating storage layer doesn't make sense, because if you don't want a storage layer, you can just use the lower level libraries directly. So I think it also depends a bit on like what's our approach there, but I still think we need to have separation between protocol and spec implementations and storage, and those are now currently very intertwined. So the credential service implements the credential protocol logic, but it also handles the storage and the persistence, which makes it very inflexible if you need a little bit more control over what happens.
yeah. Yeah, I think lots of stuff will will need to be done in the incoming month. I think.
Yeah, I think like extracting and separating the DITCOM from core and having that completely separate, also separate from the storage, will already help a lot with this. So you can have like protocol implementations and DITCOM without necessarily all the state and the store that AFJ provides.
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe having some for DITCOM, for having a separate package, which has the DITCOM base logic, let's say, and then we have different packages for each product, like something like, well, I don't know how it will be called, but so something like DITCOM base or something like that, and then the AFJ DITCOM credentials or proofs. I don't know. So these are dependent. So these ones are only the protocol implementations, while the other one will have the what's needed to send and receive the messages.
I thought about this as well, and I came with the same thing, and then you can probably for the messages, because the messages are really just data structures, right? They're not really special in that sense. So I guess these things will be very lightweight. These protocol libraries and even just a message builder or something in that regard. And then maybe a separate transport.
You mean to add different packages for each transport, like?
Well, like it depends on how crazy you want to go with decoupling everything. But I mean, I guess you could decouple the crypto as well, like the pack and unpack stuff.
Yes.
If you want, like bring your own crypto, or but also transports. Yeah, I don't know how many transports we're gonna have in the end, but
yeah, in the end, we only have two
yeah,
standard transport, and also almost everybody up to today, they are only supporting HTTP. So there are a lot of projects like Lysis, for instance, that they only use HTTP. So in the end, maybe we are too ambitious, right? I think we have to go in. I mean, I think it's a good direction what you're proposing, but maybe we have to follow the baby steps, right? Baby steps, like the mini PRs, and like
no,
here.
over engineer from the start. That's the best thing.
Yeah, like we were having some ideas about that in our team when trying to implement the open batch specification on for the Plug Fest. But yeah, anyway, like it's too complicated from the start, right? So yeah, okay. So we can probably leave this for try to.
By the way, no, I'm sorry, I'm going ahead. I'm already thinking about the next topic. But,
yeah, we can already go if you want, because
I mean, other people who were here yesterday, or who were not here, but at the Aries working group yesterday, I did not get it fully because I wasn't paying full attention at that point. But I did hear something about deprecating the v1. Is that correct? Did I get that? Yeah.
I have not been there, but I was in the DITCOM user group call where there was Sam, and he really wanted to move forward on the within the Aries community to start to everybody start using the DITCOM v2, right? So that's why the community started doing this. I don't remember which RFC, but this community coordinated update to move from unqualified leads to qualified leads, and then moving to DITCOM v2, and also the DIT rotation protocol to make it easier for existing connections with the v1 to v2. Okay. I think but have you what did they say about that? Do you remember?
No, that was what's asking. I think what I heard was that it was going to be deprecated from from an Aries perspective, which since we are still working on V2, or something noteworthy, I think.
Yeah.
I think the message that I heard was that we need to get the work wrapped up on, did rotate and unqualified dids and, did peer 4 and all that, because it's all necessary to get to where we really want to go, which is did peer 2. And we need to get our focus on that. And so we need to get those other things wrapped up, and so that we can focus on that, and the intent, I think, would be to deprecate did peer one, did com one,
Yeah.
but that I don't think any date has been floated for that, only that, you know, that's kind of the intent. That's the way I understood things.
Maybe what's actually the reason for deprecating? Like what's the, because it's just marking something as deprecated, but what's the purpose of that? What's the goal with like saying that this is deprecating? What's the reason for that? Do we know? Or
I think there's a couple of reasons. One is that right now, getting new people up to speed and into the DIDCOM world is really hard, because you kind of have to talk about these two different versions, and that a transition is happening. And so the quicker we can get to the point where we don't have to talk about, like, as new people are joining an ecosystem, everything's already on V2. You don't need to talk about V1 anymore. As you're growing the ecosystem, I think they're finding that a challenge. And so deprecating that, and then, you know, ultimately, you know, dropping support for it, I don't know, but certainly getting, you know, deprecation means that you don't really need to talk about it anymore if everybody already supports V2, and V1 is just the fallback for, you know, connections that haven't been upgraded yet because they haven't been used yet or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's more something like analogous to the case of Indian indie credentials and unknown creds, right? It's like because the DIDCOM V1 is something that came from the Aries community and then moved to or was standardized, let's say, to the div. So right now, at this moment, there are different implementations of DIDCOM V2, which are not related to Aries. So it will be a good idea to move there, so we can be compatible with everybody, right?
Yeah, like I understand that, but to me it's I worry that sometimes this deprecating stuff can cause feelings to other people that they have to hurry and get rid of current versions, and yeah, that feels like, okay, now we are working on some interoperability, let's say, with other company, and we are in the middle of that, and that someone just say, okay, no, stop everything, we just move on, and then we all move, and this is a hypothetical example, then we say, okay, let's move to DIDCOM V2, then we will be working on that for a few months, and then someone says, okay, it's deprecated because there is V3 or V4 or whatever, and then it goes like another stop, let's move on, and then I feel like maybe we are just moving somewhere and we don't have like aligned base, and we are not solving real problems with this technology, but we are just upgrading the technology. Like, if you know, for example, React Native, it's like all about upgrading, and those upgrades are crazy. So you are not solving business problems, but you are updating, right, half of the time. So and just I don't have against like saying that this is deprecated. I was just curious, and I'm just sharing my perspective. Like I feel it sometimes, because you know, if someone asks me right now, what's the DIDCOM and where is the specification, I would say like, there is the DIDCOM V2. Let's look at it. This is the latest version. If you are starting like right now, work on that maybe, right?
Yeah, but
So
actually, if somebody asks you what's DIDCOM, when you go to here, and actually you don't, well, it has the 2.0, right? But it's hard to explain that we're in a project where we are using DIDCOM, and it's not this one exactly. It's 1.0, but what's where is the specification about DITCOM v1? We have to
yeah,
drive
that's the
around
problem. But
RFC.
I'm not sure if like saying this is deprecated if it's solving really anything, right? Like I think like this is a bit mess. I'm not sure like if just saying like, okay, this is deprecated. If it's solving the issue, that it's a bit messy to get oriented in everything. So I'm just I don't know.
Yeah, but I have a question. They did use the word deprecation, because this is something that Karim said today. But did they use that word, deprecation, or just
that word?
moving on? That word, okay. But anyway,
yeah, okay, but we don't. Yeah, we don't have to like discuss this like so much. You know, I'm just curious and just want to express this and I was I was interested in your opinions on that communication style.
Well, to me, moving on to DITCOM v2 is better, because or I will say from AFJ perspective, considering what is our roadmap, I think it's better to support it as soon as possible, because that will make us compatible with other things than Aries, right? So I will say that well, actually, if I would like to use it for my project, for instance, I would like to use it right now, because for me it's the same, right? I mean, and also there are some features on the DITCOM v2 that are simpler, and so that make it a little bit easier or faster, I would say. I mean, we don't have to exchange to do the DID exchange, for instance, and the DID rotation is it's very simple, because it's just a header that will tell you that you have to rotate the DID. That kind of things, I think, are good, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, like 100%. Like I definitely like I actually I would rather implement like I would rather use just DITCOM v2 and even for this separation we were discussing, and maybe next future things we should do. I would even suggest that we should just do version v2 and not bother with the older one for like the new, let's say, new architecture, or like new I'm not like, I don't want to say version of AFJ or whatever it will be, but for that kind of thing, I'm even happy to like start with DITCOM v2, right? So I understand. But and yeah, Timo, as Timo said in the chat, I understand that, but honestly, I feel like in the software engineering community, this word deprecation is exactly what Timo wrote, but I feel like it's not understood in that way. I feel like anytime I hear someone says, "Oh, okay, it's deprecated," oh, we are all moving away, like we don't touch it from tomorrow, right? I feel that that's happening. So I'm a bit worried about like if we say like if we start saying like, yeah, okay, like, this is deprecated, and then someday in the future maybe there will be DITCOM v3, right? And then we say, okay, v2 is deprecated now, and that could end with some spiral that we are like always in the middle of implementation of the protocols. So yeah, that was my point. But I think yeah, let's see, definitely. Because I already hear it from my colleagues, for example, right? Like if someone says something is deprecated, then I already hear like the next meeting will be about like, okay, let's move on, let's get rid of this. And I just want to say that maybe that's not how I would like to communicate these things.
Yeah. Actually, the last time I was wondering because in the Aries VCX team, they are working on the new protocols for the V2 protocol for issuable credential and present proof, right? So I was wondering why don't they just move to the V2 to the Bitcoin V2 and that's it. But
yeah, these are my colleagues, right? And that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So now, yeah, it's a question like if we say like it's deprecated, what they will do or what we will do, right? Like should we then stop or? And honestly, I don't know. Like if someone says that this V1 is deprecated, then what should we do right now? Like but because until we have on V2, I think that's another few months, and that's the problem basically.
Yes.
Yeah. But that, I'm good. That's our problem. So I just wanted to express my concerns about this.
That's okay. No, but it's true. It's true that it takes time, right? It takes it to maybe right now we have as a community and also the libraries are maybe a bit more mature, but anyway, it takes a few months to implement the DITCOM V2 at least. You know, we have this PR or this branch open or the DITCOM V2 open since, I don't know, maybe 10 months or something like that. And we have still things to do, right, to make it really usable. And I was going to talk a little bit about that. We have this, I guess last week or 2 weeks ago, I opened this PR for the DITCOM V2 branch, where we are supporting for a given protocol 2 different DITCOM versions. So the idea is that usually protocols are meant to be used only on a certain DITCOM version, right? For instance, the issue credential V1 and V2 are for DITCOM V1, and while the V3 are for DITCOM V2. But there are some cases like DITCOM features V2 or basic messages V2 or some other protocols that, for instance, we are using the protocol for chats or Timo has written the protocol for shorten URL that can work in both DITCOM versions. So in this PR, what I've added was a way of allowing a protocol to define the messages for the 2 DITCOM versions. So the idea is that in the message the message receiver, we can ask for the handlers to filter by not only message type but also the DITCOM version. So in this case, for instance, I think I've added the 2 messages from this protocol, which is disclosures and queries. I define them for DITCOM V2, and then in the handler, I put that I support both. I mean, this handler supports both the DITCOM V1 and V2, and it will in the receiver it will ask for the correct one to deserialize it. Well, and there are also in this PR in particular, there are also other fixes found during the implementation of other protocols that are useful, like, for instance, to transform attachments and that stuff. And also some headers that were missing for DITCOM V2, like the timing and others. So basically, what I wanted was to do this PR And once it is reviewed and approved, and well, we do the changes that are needed, we can then implement the basic messages v2 and also the one for credentials v3, which are also working, but they are not considering this stuff, right? These changes I've done on the message receiver and the outbound in the message sender as well. I don't know if you were going to say something, Timo. No.
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if you have the chance to review it someday, maybe we can merge this one and then continue with the other ones. Besides that, besides this, we have also I know that we will also need to implement the edit rotation. This is important when we create an invitation, if we want to rotate and if we want to use a multi-use invitation, that kind of stuff, we will need to implement it. And of course, as Artem said the other day, we have to integrate the mediation and pickup protocols for V2. Maybe we can, once anyway, we are in our roadmap, we said the other day that we will release the 0.5 without Bitcoin V2, and we will do it on 0.6. But maybe once we can start merging first this one and probably one or two protocols, and then we can incorporate the mediation if we want. So we don't need to put everything in main at once, right? So maybe it will be easier for reviewing, I think.
Our RFCs, but I don't know if this is because it feels like you're going to step outside of the RFCs a little bit, right? By defining extra messages for the V1 and V2. Or am I not saying that correctly?
No, the problem is that well, the basic message is V2, for instance, is not an RFC. It's on litcom.org. If you look for basic messages, the V2, they put two examples, you see, for V1 and V2. So that's why, and the same is for the discover features, because the discover feature 2 is an Aries RFC, but it is also defined in the spec with the same versioning. So that's why we have.
Yeah, but you were talking about others, right? Just now, other protocols.
Which ones?
Yeah, you said query. You mentioned one that Timo did, and the one you were working on was that discover features? Did I?
Yeah, I was talking about the messages.
Okay.
The query and disclosures. They are two messages from this protocol.
The message types, you mean? Okay.
The message types, yes.
Fair enough. No, I think it's a fine idea as long as those messages are also documented in the RFCs.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about this. I would like to have it. Really, I really would like to have the Bitcoin V2 free support on IFJ or the other one, but I know we have still things to do before that. About the 0.5 release, currently we are still waiting for, well, our idea was to drop Node 16 support and also integrate here this, which is something else I really want to have in AFJ, the issuance of revocable credentials, which is waiting for since, I don't know, April. But we are dependent on the shared components wrappers, and there was a problem with the IndieVDR, I think, right?
Yes.
What can we do with to make it work?
I'll create a PR to just add Lerna as a dependency, and that might fix it, because it just says like no error, and it finishes like the CI perfectly fine, but it just doesn't get released. So it's very strange state.
Yeah, I don't know if you have seen, but I've added that there because, well, Andrew made a comment, because at first I added it as a dependency, but Andrew told me that, whoa, it was adding about 2,000 or 3,000 of lines of dependencies just for that, right? But anyway, if it's needed, it will be needed. We cannot avoid it.
Yeah. I hope that just adding it as a dependency, then we just pull in some dependencies. It's a dev dependency anyway. As long as it works with releasing that, that's fine. But it's a strange error. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if it's anything else regarding the 0.5. I have seen that you opened a 0.2 release.
I didn't open it.
I opened it. It's
You approved it. You approved it. Okay.
yeah. I thought like we could do another release before we go 0.5.0, but I was also a bit the packages currently being released are 0.1.4 alpha, while we already
Yes.
released 0.4.1, so it should be 0.4.2 alpha. So I was wondering if there's something went wrong, and if we go to 0.4.2, whether that will solve the issue or that there's like some bug in the publishing script. Because the tags being created now are also 0.4.1 alpha.
Yes. Yeah. It happened to me yesterday that I couldn't find the good one because of that.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know why this happens, but I think it's continuing on that, because it looks at the last released version, and that is 0.4.1 alpha. So then it goes like, okay, I'll just add one number to the alpha.
Yeah. Okay, so if you want, we can release it. I've added. There are actually two things I would like to. Well, maybe not for this release, but to fix it that I think it will be needed to handle. This one was something that I've added recently. It's about the implicit invitations. You know that for the implicit invitations, we are simply directing an invitation to a public did, right? But actually, when I was reviewing the RFC, the RFC about the exchange protocol, I've noticed that actually the invitation should go to a specific service of the did. So it's, you see, must contain the specific service in the did document. So that makes me think that, well, this is not a good explicit. I think, yeah, here. You see. So that makes me think that we should actually use the whole did URL as a did for an implicit invitation. So what I'm doing in this fix is to just allow using the specific service or not. Actually, we can, if we specify the service we want to use, it will resolve the did document and filter by the specific ID of the service that we sent as parameter. Otherwise, it will resolve the whole did document, and as today, we'll use the most suitable didcom service to connect. I don't know if it's more or less clear what my reasoning on this. I guess so, or not. Well, and the other one is about the import error in iOS. You know, that Caroline was using the bifold project, and she found that in iOS the React Native FS library is working differently, and it does throw an error when the wallet already exists, which is something that I think it should be like that, right? But currently, when we are doing an import in Ascar, in Node and Android, it will override the imported wallet, which I think it's not correct. I think we should throw an error in all the cases.
Yeah, should at least be consistent. But I also think we should throw an error to prevent overwriting something that you don't want to overwrite.
Yeah, I tried to see how did it work on in the SDK, and actually I didn't test it, but I think it also throws an error, because what Indy does when importing is actually creating a wallet and importing the data. So it will not be able to create a wallet if it already exists. So I think it will fail. Okay, and that's. I think we can fix it quickly. So maybe if you want to wait a little bit, maybe we can integrate it in the 0.4.2. Otherwise, we can go on, and
No, that sounds good.
I will try to do it today probably, so we can have it and fix it. Well, there are other things that I wanted to discuss, but we can leave it for for the next meeting. I don't know if anybody has anything else to say.
It's time.
It's time to leave. Okay, so thank you all, and see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks.
Thanks for hosting.
Bye, guys.